In this episode of Everyday AI, let's talk about policy. Sometimes we encounter a policy, perhaps it's at another UC or another institution, and we want to maybe compare it. Is it more or less restrictive than ours? Where are there similarities? Where are there opportunities for process improvements? This is particularly interesting if you were to, say, look at another UC and whether they are applying the same UCOP policy in different ways, with regards to their staff or, those sorts of things. So for this use case, what I did is I pulled up a sort of random travel policy. I went over and I found Office of the New York State Comptroller, Local Government Management Guide. And what I did was I scrolled down to their general guidelines, essential policy elements. And what I'm going to do is I wanted to compare it to our travel policy at UC San Diego. So if I go to the UC San Diego Assistant, it should have that context. It should have our policy documentation in there. So what I'm going to say is, tell me how the following policy differs from UC San Diego travel policy guidelines. I'm going to take this text here and I'm going to drop it in, again, in parentheticals here. Tell me how this policy maybe differs from the way that we handle travel here. So let's see here. It's going to compare and hopefully analyze. Firstly, it requires employees to follow pre-approval process. The policy you described does not specify the types of travel that require pre-approval, but it does mention that they must follow it for certain types. Secondly, UC San Diego travel guidelines provide a listing of expenses that are typically reimbursable. The policy you described provides a listing of reimbursable expenses, but it does not mention specific types. It provides guidelines for overnight trips. Let's see here. The policy you described does not provide specific guidelines, but it does mention that employees must travel at least 35 miles from their home. So it's interesting, right? So you can take, let's say, a unfamiliar policy document, and you can ask it to summarize or maybe compare against what we currently have as some of our policies. Hopefully that is helpful to some of you in terms of when you're looking at policy implementation. You can take a look. Again, though, you want to scrutinize the outcome. Don't take it as fact. It is doing a whole lot of math, we say, in the background. So make sure that you are reading through it, that you're still looking at it with a critical eye. I'm going to come back and I'm going to look at this government document to make sure that there's the note about 35 miles from their home, that sort of thing, just to make sure that it's valid before I go and present on it or make any sort of decisions. But this is maybe a quick way to start synthesizing and getting at some of those relationships a little more quickly.